Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, we reminisce about our favorite exploits of glitchy or otherwise totally broken video games, discuss a smattering of independent games announced during the recent Nindies Direct, mourn the loss of the Toy Store empire, and more.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors. Hello and welcome once again to another Nintendo Directors Podcast episode. It's episode 3018. And the date is not March 22nd of the year 2018, although that's when you would have gotten this episode had the plague not struck my house once again. So I'm Mark Lego, and I've been sick a lot lately, and my co-host is Brad Byer. We wave sticks at kids for a living. We are band directors, and we love Nintendo things, and we're going to talk about Nintendo things. Just a reminder, we are an every other week podcast. We post on Thursdays, we're supposed to, at 9 a.m. every other Thursday at 9 a.m. But, sickness and such.
I'm trying to think of going through my head of, we say say that every week, we wave sticks at kids for a living, but what else could people think if we didn't actually say we're
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a better way to describe what we do efficiently.
Yeah, but
I think most people that listen to this understand what band director means, but I like
sticks.
just saying waving sticks.
Beating up children didn't really go over very well in the focus testing.
No. I mean, it's accurate. No, it's not. But beating up their faces,
yes.
Building endurance with their chops
Building
and
grit.
such. Anyways, let's get on with the show. All right. Nintendo. Here we go with the news. The news this week. The news is brought to you by Jigglypuff's Marshmallow Cream. Don't mess with the puff.
No, definitely not. Especially, what's his face?
Yeah.
Hungry Box, is that, yeah?
I was going to say Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but whatever. I'm going old school on you. Totally unrelated to Jigglypuff.
Oh, boy. All right.
So,
yeah,
the
this
Nindies
happened.
Direct.
Again, kind of unexpected. Although, again, whole past tense thing with you being weeks ago now. But it is what it is. We got ourselves a little 10-minute addendum to the massive direct that we had a couple of weeks ago. And this is, again, just a nice little side thing. I really liked it. It was just some simple announcements and some wacky and quirky other games that Nintendo decided to kind of focus on. Again, not very long. It was about 10 minutes long. Excuse me, but we're gonna try to run through these announcements for you relatively quickly. Maybe not spend too much time because a lot of them, granted, are just pretty new, and they're not. We don't know a ton about them other than the however many 30 seconds or less that we got of each one. So, however, one of these, the first game that they mentioned is a remaster, and of it is, from what I understand, a remaster of a very highly praised game from 2011, 12. I don't remember exactly when it came out. It was a while ago, but it was 12. Okay.
I think it was 12.
Yeah, it came out. I said this is Mark of the Ninja. And the purists, or the Mark of the Ninja faithful, if you will, the evangelists, would call it one of the most pure, pure stealth games, I guess. And it looks really cool. I don't know why I just never. Did it ever come out on any Nintendo systems before this? I don't think.
I don't think so.
Why.
No.
It wasn't until a couple years ago that I even had another system, a PlayStation. Got a PlayStation 4 about 3 years ago or so, and it wasn't on that. I don't think.
Traitor. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's okay. Considering that I'm still playing Zelda, I think I can still pass.
Okay.
So yeah, but this looks really cool. It's you're just hiding in the shadows and you're hanging from the ceiling and you're doing all these crazy things to avoid the surveillance cameras and the guards and everything. So I'm really interested to check this out. It's coming out this fall, and I think it'll be a nice little fun thing. And again, for those of you who have played it before, obviously this is a chance to take it on the go. So pretty cool.
I think it looks fantastic.
Oh yeah,
it looks really
yeah,
really good.
yeah, totally. I bet you if you went back and played it on the original, like I don't know exactly what they updated it in terms of graphics wise remastering, but I imagine even the original still looks pretty good because of the art style. So it's
Yep.
pretty cool. Speaking of art style, this next game is called Fantasy Strike. This one I've never even heard of at all, but it has a very kind of cell shaded style. It's a fighting game where you kind of use like the different elements, wind, fire, gambling, just
Right.
to defeat your enemy.
I think aesthetically it looked cool. I think
I don't
play
get
wise,
it.
I think it would have to be priced right. And if I had like a night where I was like, hey, I got some buddies coming over, let's play this weird game. Like, I don't know, because it looks cool, but it looks weird.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where hard to explain it in 20 seconds in a direct or even a minute, but it's just a fighting game, and I guess again, you use the power of gambling and other weird things. Like I didn't write them all down, but I was just taking notes. I was like, wind, fire, gambling.
Right.
I wanted to pull up my Captain Planet, heart and
yeah.
by your powers.
Heart, such a worthless power. Just like give the last little kid heart.
Yes.
Oh, poor kid.
Oh.
Yep.
Anyone who's not alive in the 90s, you missed out. Or was that the 80s? I don't even remember it anymore.
That was it was the 90s. It was definitely the 90s. And what I loved about Captain Planet, and this is totally staying on topic for us, is that Captain Planet got hurt by pollution and trash. So all you had to do to fight him was like eat a hamburger and throw your Whopper wrapper on the ground, and it's kryptonite to him. But anyways,
looting and polluting.
But heart.
It was
yeah.
Oh, where are the old theme songs for shows?
Yeah, man, they were good.
Looting and polluting, man.
Yeah. All right, so moving on then, I guess trying to get back on topic here. The next one would be Just Shapes and Beats. It's a musical bullet hell game. Includes full single player game.
Listen to that.
Yeah, which is weird. Right, yeah. Musical bullet hell game.
With sushi. No.
Yep.
No.
Right.
No, that was sushi.
And it's all done on a DDR pad. So no.
Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the
you
people.
You better have that. Yeah. It's only done with a Wii specific Rock Band drum kit. It's the only interface they planned on. No, it's it looks interesting. It's another one where it's like, okay, I'm glad. Like, it doesn't look bad. Is that the best I can say?
We've
about
told
it?
the audience absolutely nothing about this game, except that it has shapes and beats.
Yeah.
Music.
Yes.
Okay. Bullet hell music.
Look, that's the title of the game. It's just
That's right.
Shapes and beats.
But what shapes? Does it include the rhombus? Because that's important.
I would think that the rhombus would be in there. Yeah, I'm hoping it goes into the third dimension and we get like a double dodecahedron. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a game. It's a classic gaming shape. Yeah.
Where did you ever watch? Oh man, this was probably just my school, but I watched this. My math teachers in like middle school played this video for us of like, the more advanced shapes, the parallelograms and the rhombuses and the whatever, and they tried to do like musical numbers based on all of them, and all I remember was this like stupid like cha-cha thing of do the rhombus, and there's like kids holding maracas there, and they're just real bad.
Yeah, that sounds like an idea that it just wasn't run by anybody cool. Like, let's do these musical numbers.
Kids will love it,
about shapes,
especially
and such.
the middle schools.
Yeah.
Middle school, yes.
Middle schoolers.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah. Cheese works if done right. It works with high schoolers,
especially or college students. College students can get into cheese. Yes.
Or college students. Yeah,
But
totally.
middle school.
Yep. So.
It is what it is.
So, just shapes and beats. That's our rundown of it for you.
We hope you feel well informed about all.
Yes. Next one, Garage. It's a top-down shooter. Honestly, I was watching this and I had my daughter walked into the room, so I had to just I didn't catch all of this one.
It's gross.
It looked
it's really gory. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like it. So
I haven't played it, but I hear that I from what I've seen of videos and stuff, this looks a bit like Hotline Miami. Lots of just a top-down,
that was
gory. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
But I think it takes place
neat
in a garage. A very large one, apparently,
Yeah.
that can just stretch for miles.
A sprawling garage. Yeah. Your standard
right.
typical garage. So that launches spring of 2018. If you are a Hotline Miami fan, look out for Garage. That might be kind of cool and might be what you are wanting to play. This next one.
This is great.
This again wasn't one where when I saw it, I thought, if it's priced right, and I have some friends over, we could have some fun with this. Pool Panic.
This is just absurd. So
billiards action adventure.
Well, I was gonna put pool
there,
action adventure, but that could give the wrong impression.
Yeah. No, billiards action adventure? Question mark. Yeah. It's
I don't even get it.
It looks like
there's apparently some kind of story, and you can walk around and interact with other pool balls, but you also play pool.
This is it. That's a really good description of it. I think you're fighting bosses sometimes while hitting balls, and I don't know. It just seems
right. Well,
really
and of course, don't forget the ballerina balls and the biker balls that you run into. Just
oh right, exactly. It looks weird, but I love that it's 4-player multiplayer, and I really want to do that. I again, if it's priced right, 4-player local multiplayer on that would be really fun. I think.
You really, again, so many of these you just got to see the video because it's so hard to describe, but it's also hard to imagine. You don't get it until you see it.
Right. And this next one, however, I want you to just say the title, which I think is a perfect description of it.
Bomb Chicken. Bomb Chicken.
Bomb Chicken.
And chickens lay bombs all the time. And it helps them to get higher in their chicken coops. They just stack bomb upon bomb. They lay them real fast, and then they platform and they get up there, and that's how the eggs are made, friends. Because they explode, and then that causes the world to. I don't even know.
If you want to have a chicken coop and have chickens in your backyard, make sure the neighbors are aware of the sound. Of the explosions. Don't worry about the clucking. But yeah, no, Bomb Chicken. So it's a chicken platformer. Toki-Tori, I guess.
Right.
I guess it's a genre now.
But again, Toki-Tori is much more of a side-scrolling thing. This is like an upward momentum game. You're trying to get higher usually. But I mean, again,
I think they were getting high when they
or they were just like, hey guys, you'll never believe what I found in my closet this day. I found this design of a game I designed when I was 12, or maybe even 6 or 7. I'm just like, this is brilliant.
That seems
we need to make this game.
Yeah.
Throw out our AAA plans. We're going. We're making this passion project right now.
I've wanted to make this game my whole life.
Right. Some creative director that just power went to his head, and this is what we're making.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome.
I will say it. I think stylistically, I think it looks cool.
It's cool, and it's coming out this summer, so that's a good time to play a wacky weird game like that. So.
Yep.
Reigns. What is this, Mark?
We skipped G.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I don't want to skip that one either, for sure.
You want to talk
so
on that
this is actually Reminisce remastered, and for those folks around for a while, you'll remember a little console called the PlayStation P or portable, or PSP, and they had a great game. I think it was a launch game even, called Luminous, and it's a puzzle game that also incorporates music. I've never played it myself, but I hear nothing but rave reviews about it. That it was just this really excellent puzzle game that now apparently is getting remastered, and of course, like everything else, it's coming to the Switch. So
I'm okay with that coming to the Switch.
It looks cool. I'm pumped to try it, especially since there needs to be more puzzle games on Switch, just in general.
I agree. More music puzzle bullet
right.
hells. Shmups. Yeah, no, it's all right. So Reigns, you wrote down minimalist presentation reminds me of Papers, Please. That's a good way of describing it, because honestly, Papers, Please is a game that I haven't played. I don't know if you've played
I own
that
it.
yet,
I
but
still
I've
haven't
been
played it
interested
yet.
to play it.
It's one of those Steam games,
okay, all right.
just in my backlog sitting there.
Yep. It looks like it'd be fun to play, like, if you're in the right mood on, like, you got a rainy afternoon. It's like,
rainy.
Play. Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
So we didn't.
But Reigns.
Well, you're a king, right? It's and you're just
yes.
You're not like going off to war or anything. You're just like dealing with your kingdom. It sounds like.
Yes. Yep. And aesthetically, I wasn't wowed. I get what they're trying to do with it, but it just didn't like scratch that itch for me. So I this looked like a pass for me, but I mean, if I think you hit right with it by saying it looks like Papers, Please. And I know that's a genre of game that people are. There are definitely.
If you're not familiar with Papers,
audience
Please,
for it.
by the way, it's just a game where you're like this border agent.
Aren't you like a
border agent on
agent.
this
Yep.
border, and I don't think it tells you specifically where, but for this country, and everyone's coming to you. They want to get into, or is it into or out of the country? I can't remember.
They want to get in, and you're making
right. So they show you all their
in.
documents and stuff about here's my passport, here's my or my identification or whatever, and you have to decide whether they meet your qualifications, whether they're legit, and there's crazy things that happen, because people are desperate to get there, and they give you their sob stories, and you have to decide whether you believe them or not, and so it's a pretty intense kind of situation. So it sounds like this is kind of more along those lines of you're just everyone has their own problems in your kingdom, and you gotta deal with them, and so you have to make lots of tough decisions. So
yes.
Yep.
The next one is called Lightfall, and Lightfall is a game that had it come out like 7 or 8 years ago, I would have been really wowed and would have been like, I want to play that. That looks cool. It's a hardcore platformer. It includes a speed run mode. But there have been so many hardcore platformer indie games where everything is black except for the background. And this is another one of those, and it hit me. I don't like that game anymore. I've played it, and I don't want to see it again. And maybe because it was so difficult. And maybe this one will be better. Maybe it'll have some new innovations. But it looks like every other one I've seen,
It definitely had some Celeste vibes, I think. And it just... but yeah, that hardcore platforming thing seems like people like to make those these days. Because they do. We're getting to the point where so many of these people who grew up on the platformers of ye old days, or even more recent days, these Super Meat Boys and the trying to think of,
which was a great game,
totally. But they're starting to make their own games these days, and so they want to make what they remember, which makes sense, I guess. I'm sure there's a huge audience for that still.
Yeah,
I hope it does well.
Yeah, I bet. So that launches spring of 2018. I will be passing.
Yeah. Not really for me either.
Yeah.
So
this next one.
Anyway, so
go ahead. Oh.
I'm bad.
Well, this next one I want to talk about because this one actually did pique my interest.
This is so weird.
West of Loathing, and I like that you called it Stick Figure Wild West RPG. That's a really good. That should be a genre in and of itself.
I'm the one who takes notes
But,
about these
yeah,
while the direct goes on. By the way, so I just kind of come with whatever comes.
I think that's a perfect description for it. And you put, I think it honestly looks hilarious. Like as I was watching this, because I had just gotten done watching Lightfall and just felt like betrayed. I was like, ugh, another one of those. And then West of Loathing aesthetically looked totally different. I was like, oh, this looks great. This looks really fun.
Well, it's designed as a comedy for sure, as far as I understand. But that's just weirdness, just strange. It's literal stick figures
weird.
though, like walking around and
yes,
this or that. So again, just hey, look at these drawings I found under my bed. Can we make a game on this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Just
go for it.
Just
yeah. There are at least 1 billion people that have a Switch now, so just throw it out there. It'll make us some money. No, obviously this isn't something I'm going to spend $20 on. I don't even know if I'd spend 10 on it. But if it's like 5, I guess maybe 10. But if it's 5, I'll definitely get it. Like,
right.
Why not? Like, it looks interesting enough to me. So, the next one makes me snicker saying the title.
Go.
Poo.
They were very specific to say that's how it's pronounced.
They should have gone with Pod, but
right.
or Pody, but
Puda is actually how it's pronounced.
Yeah, it's a co-op platformer. Why don't you talk on this?
I will not talk on this. I cannot remember a thing about it. I'll be honest. It is a platformer. That's about all I know.
Yeah, it is a platformer, and I'm looking at all of the images of it right now, and I remember watching it and not being wowed.
Yeah, that's because that was my one bullet point.
So,
co-op platformer. That's it. Obviously.
Next. And that's what we're going to do right now. Next.
You're actually, I'm guessing you'd probably be into this one. This is the Ninja Gaiden like. This is The Messenger.
Yes. And I am also pulling up the images of this one as well. Oh, totally. Yeah. This looks cool. And this I will get like day one. And I'm just hoping the difficulty on it is sufficient. But like, no. Oh, by the way, as I'm clicking through pictures, there's one of West of Loathing where the horse stable is called the Horsery, not a nursery, but it's a horsery. And the sheriff station, the sign just says SHERF. Sherf.
Wow.
I'm really excited for that one. But yeah, no. So The Messenger, I think that is. I don't know. I speak about aesthetics a lot, but for me, that's a huge part in getting a game. And
it looks like classic Ninja Gaiden, right?
I think it looks a lot like classic Ninja Gaiden, and like a mix between the Sega Master System version and the NES version. So like,
right, because they actually
it looks great.
Well, and this is kind of funny. I was taking notes on my phone, and so there was an autocorrect fail. I think my next bullet point says morons into 16-bit time traveling adventure with the push of a button.
That sounds like a premise of a Bill and Ted's
go into moron. Anyway, but yeah, there's a mechanic in here that's pretty interesting in that I don't know exactly what triggers it. Well, I mean, I guess you push a button, but like there's a certain point in the story where you do something and then all of a sudden you go either forward in you go forward in time. And all of a sudden you're no longer in an 8-bit world, you're in a 16-bit world. So you've literally just gone ahead, and the graphic style reflects that, and then you go back and forth, and I guess they, light world, dark world kind of thing, and they put puzzles in that take advantage of that. So
yeah, so that's summer of 2018, this summer, and that's a must-have for me. So I loved the Ninja Gaiden games on Nintendo, on the NES. So yeah.
Sweet.
So.
All right, next, and we're getting towards the end of the list here. There's a game called Bad North, which it's about Vikings. It looks, and you're fighting the Viking horde, but it's kind of a mishmash of real time tactics, and it's also a roguelike. So you're trying to stay alive as long as you can, although it does apparently include permadeath for commander. So it's kind of a military sim-ish, but you're fighting Vikings. So we're not doing a very good job describing this.
No, but I don't know how else. I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
I think you've done that. That's about as good as you can do. But I think the
video,
look
yeah.
of this game is beautiful.
Mm.
I mean, was this one that struck you visually?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting looking. I think probably because when I saw it and they started talking about the type of game that it was, I was like, I'm not, not for me. I'm not into roguelikes. I'm not really into real-time tactics. And so it was like, it looks cool, but not for me. So I think I tuned out shortly after it started.
Okay.
But again,
okay.
Hard games, I suck at them. So yeah.
Yeah, I like the permadeath thing for commanders. I did that with, I think I talked about this on an earlier episode about playing XCOM.
Oh, yeah.
And I named my entire squad, like a bunch of my friends from a board gaming group that I have, and I was just like giving them updates, be like, "Sorry, Ricky, you died. I am really so sorry, but like you just got obliterated, and I couldn't sacrifice anyone else to save you." So, but
modern day version of Oregon Trail.
So, yes, yeah. Oh man.
Those dysentery victims.
All right, so yeah, dysentery. So the last one featured in the Nindies Direct was Banner Saga 3 this summer, and Banner Saga 1 and 2 are also coming soon, is what they said, which I'm excited for that because I've actually, I don't know why I haven't pulled the trigger on getting a Banner Saga game yet, because that definitely appeals to me, that type of game. Turn-based strategy, the aesthetic of the game.
The art looks cool, but I've never actually played it myself.
Yeah. The art almost sells me alone on it, and then it's a turn-based strategy. Kind of, I don't know. I guess you're moving around a grid. I think, and it seems kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a tactics kind of game.
Isn't this okay?
But the story.
Isn't this the same studio that did Transistor, or am I thinking differently?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm thinking something different. Anyway, that same kind of turn-based stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, so anyways, the fact that all three are coming to the Switch, the third coming this summer, that's exciting for me, because those are ones that have been on my radar for a long time. Both the Banner Saga games, so now there will be a third. Yeah. So, yeah.
Great.
So that's cool. There was I want to mention two that I was kind of surprised weren't mentioned in the Nindies Direct. Just briefly, I'll mention them. Runner 3.
Oh.
I mean, that's coming out this spring. And I don't know why.
Is that a new release, or is that a remake, or like a re-release?
I thought Runner 3 was new.
I know I played a Runner game on the Wii U. I don't remember. Was that Runner 2? Okay, because I got it in the Humble Bundle, Nintendo Humble Bundle or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that must have been Runner 2. I think about it.
Maybe Runner 3 has come out and I was unaware of it, but I thought for sure that was a new one. But the other one it's coming out this year, is Dead Cells, which I think it looks gorgeous, and it's a side-scrolling, brawling, beat-em-up kind of, I don't know. It looks
like Double Dragon kind of style?
Kind of looks like, no, more like, I guess I get a mix between The Messenger and Mark of the Ninja Remastered. I guess it kind of looks a little bit like that. I think there's some Metroidvania aspects to it as well. I don't know too much about it, other than I've seen a couple or a trailer of it, and some. I just think it looks really cool.
So check out Dead Cells for sure.
Yeah, that'll be later this year. That's supposed to release. So. Anyways, there was other news.
Yeah, so that was the Nindies Direct. We have some Moving on here, we have some kind of sad news here via IGN. This has been kind of somewhat widespread on social media and stuff too, but as you've probably now heard, Toys R Us officially bankrupt, and they are closing basically all of their stores. I think all of them, if I'm not mistaken. And so obviously, this is kind of a sad story. It's sort of an end of an era, if you will. Do you have a lot of, I don't know, did you grow up with Toys R Us? I never did. I had KB Toys back in
I wasn't,
where I grew up, but that's long since
oh,
gone.
Okay. Yeah, we had which actually there's rumor that it's coming back to fill in the the void of Toys R Us. Yeah, but I don't know if that's been validated or not. But I wasn't allowed to go to Toys R Us too much because I loved it so much, and it was so hard for my mom and dad to get me to leave without causing a scene. But to me, as a kid, Toys R Us was magic. You walked in, and it was just like floor to ceiling, this impossibly high wall of toys and aisles of it. And being able to just go in and check out like the Transformer aisle as a kid and the video games, it was great. And the thing is, I've been in Toys R Us probably, I guess I'd say an average of like once or twice a year for the last 10 years now. And there's still a small hint of that magic feeling when I walk in. Like I get like, oh man, look at all this cool stuff. Like there's just, so I don't know. It is sad that it's closing. You know, it's the way that the world is going. Everything's going online, and a brick and mortar store. It's harder and harder for them to stay, open and vibrant, vital. I guess I don't know. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I don't know. It's sad.
I suppose the one silver lining of this, of course, is that be on the lookout because the liquidation sales and stuff have already started, so you may be able to get something if it's not already gone by now. But
and they're gone. whatever you wanted, it's gone.
Yeah, and probably for video games they wouldn't do huge deals anyway, so it is what it is.
It's too bad.
So
yeah,
again, end of an era, but it is what it is.
Yep. Well, let's not let it ruin our podcast. Moving on. Next, so Sega Genesis Collection for PS4 and Xbox One announced.
Cool. And there's a huge list of games. Including like every Sonic game, although except Sonic 3, which is kind of strange, but includes just tons and tons of games. What's the problem, though?
I don't know. Oh, because it's Sega Genesis, and Sega Genesis isn't good, and it's way worse than Nintendo. No. It's not coming to the Switch. What's going on, Sega? Come on, I thought you and Nintendo were playing nice these days.
It would seem like this should be a slam dunk for them.
You would think. I wonder if it has anything to do with their partnership with Nintendo in releasing the 3, whatever the project was called when they released the 3 Sonic games or whatever to go along with the show, and like all of the games just sucked and like didn't do well on the Wii U because nobody owned a Wii U, and I wonder if Sega's like bitter now. I don't know.
Well, okay, so there is a theory out there that some video game journalists are proposing, and that is that Nintendo doesn't love the idea of putting all these Sega Genesis games out in one big collection for however, I don't know how much it's going to cost, $40, $60, whatever, when they could potentially sell them individually for $5 or $8 or whatever. But that, of course, would mean that they have a traditional virtual console model in mind, which I'm kind of hoping for, but it seems ever more unlikely these days. So that is the theory, though.
What would make Nintendo the hero in this situation is if later on it's announced that Virtual Console is coming to the Switch, and it's not what you think. It's access to the entire library of like these systems, and you pay this much to be able to just play those for a year. and it's like a yearly fee, and it's like, yeah, we didn't want you to pay $40 for that giant collection because you can pay $80 and have access to all of the games for a year. If it was a
Right.
subscription service like that, I'm okay with
Right.
that. I'm okay
As
with
long
that.
as it's reasonable, because obviously the only thing we've really heard officially at this point is that there's going to be one game a month that they've kind of optimized or updated, a retro game like Mario 3 or whatever with online functionality, and even if we have this kind of subscription service type thing, more likely it's going to be for just a couple of games at a time. So
Right.
Our visions, our daydreams of every Nintendo game ever made and all these.
Hey, Nintendo, you can do it if you want.
Yeah,
You
we
can
give
do
you
it
our
if you
permission.
want.
The Nintendo Director's seal
Yep.
of approval. Just
That's as good as
That's
the
right.
Nintendo seal of approval. So,
Totally.
So, anyways, yeah. That's not coming to the Switch yet
Question
or
mark?
ever. I don't know.
Question mark.
Here's another one, another announcement. Right now, this is breaking right now. Fortnite, the greatest gaming sensation
Is
of the
that PUBG?
year, is. I think it's bigger than
bigger?
PUBG. Oh man, it's gone bazonkers lately.
Well, yes,
Like
lately, but
every, yeah. So like long term, it's not PUBG yet, but I think it's going to surpass it. But that is also not on the Switch, so it's like
Right.
it's on mobile. It's on mobile,
Right.
and it's the same game, and it's cross-platform, mobile to. So, anyways, that's not on the Switch, but I have hopes for that as well. So,
Okay.
anyways, so next, Street Fighter 30th anniversary
Heard it.
has a unique.
I've
What's
heard
that?
it. Yep.
Oh, okay. Moving on then. All right. Oh wait, no, I'm not telling you. We're telling the audience.
Oh.
That's right. Okay, so it has a unique Switch exclusive mode. I don't know what it is, Brad.
Okay, so basically the idea is on the Switch, it says that, this is reading from IGN again, it says, on the Switch, this works pretty much exactly as, excuse me, I skipped a paragraph, there we go. Okay, so it has to do with, like, the arcade cabinet, like in Japan, they would do this thing where you could put, like, 3 or 4 arcade cabinets together, and you could play against each other from those arcade cabinets. So, let's see. So you have the 12 games. Tournament battle required 4 Super Street Fighter 2 cabinets to be linked up together in order to allow 8 players to simultaneously take part in a small tournament. Each player would play a single round against their opponent. Then all fights were settled, and the game would automatically adjust the bracket and tell you which cabinet to move to for your next match. After 3 matches, you'd have one undefeated champion that would proudly be displayed on every screen. So just linking them in a tournament setting. And so on the Switch, this works pretty much as you expect. You have 4 Switches set up next to each other that would act as the 4 arcade cabinet screens, and up to 8 Joy-Cons, and you'd keep connected to each Switch that would act as the arcade sticks and buttons. So, again, just kind of a unique feature because of the portability of the Switch that allows them to kind of have that. So, kind of cool. Again, it only ever came out in Japan before, so just to be able to have it here for the Switch is pretty nifty.
Yeah.
Are you gonna?
That is cool.
Have you ever bought a Street Fighter 2? Have you ever played a lot of Street Fighter 2?
Oh man, a lot of Street Fighter 2.
What'd you play it on?
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
A lot. of Street Fighter 2 growing up, did that a lot. I think it was mostly Turbo Edition.
Okay.
But yeah, I love that
That's
game.
good.
I really do.
I
Go ahead.
I have it now on the Super NES
you're-
Classic.
Oh,
So I've
yeah,
messed around
nice.
with it a little bit, but
which you've played so much of because
right.
Breath of the
Actually, I've
Wild.
been playing more recently, which we'll get to when we get to one.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right. This next one is just a quick little note that's interesting. Blossom Tales, 3 months of Switch sales has surpassed the entire sale numbers for Steam, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Blossom Tales is a game that I don't know. To me, I've been on the fence about it. It looks interesting, and I think my daughter would really like playing it. I think May would enjoy it. So
that's
I don't know. Have you
I
played
haven't
it?
played it, but I hear that's like the Link to the Past like game.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just done super super well. And again, we've talked about this before. Like, Super Meat Boy sold crazy on the Switch. After, it like outdid its first year sales or first month? I don't even remember. It just like majorly eclipsed the sales that it originally had in the 360 years and years ago. This is the same kind of thing.
That's
A lot of games that were released before on Steam now are coming to the Switch, and they're just finding an enormous audience, which is pretty cool. There's obviously plenty of people who have Switches now, and they're buying lots of games. So it's neat to see that taking place now. I guess the long-term question is this really sustainable? Because so much stuff now is coming to the Switch. Is it eventually going to become just another kind of Steam store or the App Store where things kind of get lost a little bit? But again, in the short term, this is great. So
yeah, yep. All right. I think that's the news. All right, it's time for what we've been playing, and Brad, I'll start.
Do it.
I have been playing The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh, hey, I like that game.
Yeah, it's a neat one. So I've gotten back into the DLC on that and working my way through the Champions DLC, but nothing, some cool shrines to go along with it. Nothing, earth-shattering, except for the moment when I had forgotten about this. I knew that there was snow bowling.
Oh, right.
I knew it was there. I had yet to stumble across it until I was doing the DLC, and I was like, oh, man, there's probably just so much still to this game that I have not discovered. So that was like a really cool moment to stumble across that and be like, that really isn't hidden. It's just there, and I hadn't explored that area much, apparently. So so that was just eye-opening to me to come to that moment and realize there's a lot left. There's just a lot left.
So I remembered, I know this is your segment, but I just wanted to jump in here because I remember when I was going through the upper, mountainous area, there are the big snow areas. Snowy areas generally are my least favorite areas in games because they're just kind of cold, obviously cold, but like just kind of dark and not a lot of interesting terrain usually, and usually there's not a lot going on. So I remember just like painstakingly exploring every single inch of, and like making zigzag lines like up and down and up and down and up and down just to make sure I covered everything the first time, so I wouldn't have to go back too much to those areas. And I distinctly remember finding that bowling area and being like, this is a great lighthearted kind of change of pace, and it's really the guy who does it is really kind of funny, and so it's
I think he just has, I think there's like a wine bottle and a wine glass in his cabin, and I don't think there was like any food.
Right.
So it's just like this guy is getting by on liquid warmth alone. So
and once again, this is absolutely one of those ideas that some Japanese designer woke up one morning and was like, oh man,
snowballing. Of course. Yeah, let's do it.
Guys, we've got to do this. Seriously. I had this dream and it was just
so that was cool. Like and it's how I played that a bunch, and I've been playing quite a bit of Zelda. I've also been playing a game on my phone called Iron Marines. It's by the same maker
phone
as...
game. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was sick. So.
Oh, right.
If you ever played Kingdom Rush, it's a tower defense game with some hero elements to it. Iron Marines is the same maker, similar aesthetic, but like in a StarCraft type feel, and the setting similar to StarCraft, and that. So I really liked StarCraft. So it's kind of cool to play that game on the go. I've enjoyed it. One game that I almost pulled the trigger on, and I know I would play it if I got it, is Aegis Defenders, which is a platforming tower defense that just released on Switch recently.
I've heard of it.
And I think it's on sale right now even. So I'm probably going to go pull the trigger on it when we're done recording here. So, but yeah, so that's what I've been playing. A lot of Zelda and a little bit of Iron Marines. So
nice. All right, so in a change of pace for me, I guess, I have not been playing a ton of Zelda.
Wow.
I know, right? I did play actually a little bit earlier today, but in the grand scheme of things, I haven't been playing a whole lot of Zelda because I have been actually making use for the first time in several months of my Super NES Classic. I guess this is as good a time as any to tell people we are most likely going to be on the. If you're familiar with the podcast, another podcast called Nintendo Dads, they're going to be, and maybe we shouldn't say this. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're doing a retro.
Beans have been spilled.
Yep,
so
let's
go.
It's gone. Yes, we're going to be on Nintendo Dads on their Retro Rewind, which is basically just kind of a game book club sort of thing. Look back, let's reminisce about this, or let's see if it holds up. Those kind of things for the game Final Fantasy VI.
Yes. Yes.
Mark might like that game a little bit.
Oh man. Oh man, it's so good. Okay.
I'm not going to give a ton of my impressions, but just I have never played this game before, and so this is the perfect opportunity for me to make an excuse to do that. So I've been grinding through a JRPG for the last week and a half or so, and will continue to do so for the next week and a half or whatever. So that's most of what I've been playing.
Are you still in the world of balance?
I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If
I'm only like 4 hours in ish.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, and I don't typically get into a whole lot of RPGs, so it's good. I'm excited to give kind of the full impressions on that. But yeah, check out in the next couple of weeks. I think we're going to record not this coming week, but April 4th or so. Yeah. If you side note, Nintendo Dads is another great podcast that if you like what we do, you might like what they do. So
yeah, awesome. Absolutely.
So yeah, we'll be there, and I've been playing that. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna spill the beans on something else, but let's wait.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So we no beans for you. I've been playing that. I've been playing, still kind of plucking away at Lego City Undercover. Still
nice.
Just really enjoying that game. It's really just good humor, and pretty simple gameplay, but just fun. I mean, and it's got some good mechanics too. It's kind of like we talked about before, Lego GTA. You can just jump in any car you want and just drive around, and but you can there's subtle things about it too, where you're just driving along, and then all of a sudden you pull up next to a car that's like, oh man, that's a sweet car, and there's an automatic, like, a prompt pops up, and you just hit the X button again, and boom, you just jump right from one car to the next, and all of a sudden you're driving the next one with it was totally seamless, So stuff like that is pretty neat, that just simple things, and then the story is super funny. Don't sleep on this game, guys. If you haven't played it, Lego City Undercover is super fun, especially if you have significant other or kids or whatever. It's got co-op on the Switch. Totally worth playing through with friends or family. And I think that's really all I've been playing. It's been a busy week, so I haven't had as much time to play as I could.
Cool.
So.
All right, and so we're gonna segue from here then into another segment.
I'm kind of excited about this segment, actually.
Yeah. This segment, we're calling it Broken Games, because it's a great. We don't have another title, but we're calling it Broken Games.
That's what we came up with at 10 o'clock at night.
And our other segments don't have great titles either, and we've been using those for 18 episodes. So whatever, it is what it is. It literally, that's what it is. It's Broken Games.
Right.
We're going to talk about games that we've found a way to break it or an exploit in a game that we found either fun or funny or anyways. Why don't you do give me one and I'll do one, and then I think you said you have two that you were going to highlight.
Yeah, I got a couple here.
I got one. So you do one and then I'll do one. We'll go back and forth.
All right. So my first one starts out with actually this happened in a couple sports games actually, and of course they have to be from the NES days because NES. Right. So I have great memories. My buddy Zach and I, when we were growing up, we played a lot of games. We'd go down to the Curvans gas station / video rental place and pay $1 for a night or two or something. Or I think it's like 2 nights or something. And I would just like we'd rent all these games, and it's kind of funny because neither he or I are really super sportsy people. I mean, I played some rec sports and stuff growing up, but we would just kind of get whatever was available and what we hadn't played and whatever. And so there's 2 games that we played that were just totally breakable. And the first one was a football game, and it's not Tecmo Bowl.
I'm so glad you didn't choose Tecmo Super Bowl because that's my game.
Okay, good.
The whole time I'm like, please don't choose my game. But
that's funny. Okay. So it was a little known NES game called Touchdown Fever. This is your off-brand sports.
It's not a good game. It is not a good game. But go ahead.
It's not a great game at all. But we actually had a blast with it because we could dominate the competition. Actually, both of this game and the next sports game that I'm going to talk about, they have similar themes. The thing about this game was that we would always pick the same play for everything. It was always the same play because and it was very effective, very very effective. So when we were on offense, and of course this is a co-op game, you could play on the same side, right? So I was always the quarterback and my buddy was the lineman, and so we would just pick the Hail Mary kind of fit, whatever you call it, the long throw, long pass, play, which there was like 4 different plays you could do in this game, right? Short pass, long pass, short run, long, or whatever it was. Right. So we always picked the long pass one, and so I would just go into this big shotgun and then go back, and then Zach would just start running as far as he possibly could, all the way down in the end zone, and it would just be, just keep backpedaling. But the thing is, if you kept backpedaling, it didn't matter how far he was away as long as you pressed the button, the correct button. And so I would run back like 10, 15, 20 yards and then just push the right button, and it would go right to him in the end zone.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tecmo Super Bowl would do the same. Tecmo Bowl, about like 100-yard throws where every quarterback is capable of that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so we won quite a few games of that before. Nice. I don't think we ever actually got bored of it. It was just kind of, when you're 7 years old and you're playing this game, you're like, wow, I'm really good at this game.
Yep.
And you just keep playing it over and over again. Yeah, so that was super fun. And then the next one, again, it's kind of similar concept here. There's a game called World Cup Soccer.
Yes.
And
it's a good game.
This was, I distinctly remember this game, not only because it was an interesting soccer game, but it was the first game that I remember that introduced players of different races. I don't know why that was important, but it just sticks in my memory of there was the white guy, and then like the brown guy, and then the black guy, and the red guy.
Yeah, maybe a little bit insensitive naudays, but
that's kind of what they were. Yeah.
Yeah,
they definitely
were
red.
Definitely red. Maybe it was just I don't
very
know,
sunburned.
really,
just
yeah. It's just a yeah.
But that wasn't why I was the reason it was interesting to play was because kind of like in the Touchdown Fever, I would just my friend Zach would dribble the ball, and I would just go completely offsides. The nice thing is the game didn't care about offsides. Not at all. And so I would literally go stand in the goal, and he would do the Hail Mary pass because of course he could perfectly pass it 50 yards plus.
Oh, yeah.
It would just go zinging through the air, lobbing itself up. and then all I had to do was stand right on the goal line there and execute a bicycle kick just as soon as it got to me, and there we were. We were in the goal.
Nice.
The goalie could never get it because I would always touch it first because of that bicycle kick move. Oh, man. Again,
That's fantastic.
We played a lot of that game.
Well, my main game that I think I would say it was broken was Tecmo Super Bowl. If you ever played Tecmo Super Bowl, you know the name Bob Nelson. If you didn't play Tecmo Super Bowl, you'd have no idea who Bob Nelson is. But if Tecmo Super Bowl is any indicator, that dude is enshrined in Canton in the Hall of Fame because he's the best football player to have ever played the game. And I think he had like 2 seasons total. But in that game, he is the best. And people always talk about Bo Jackson when they talk about that game, or Jerry Rice, or it's Bob Nelson. The nose tackle for the Green Bay Packers can sack you on every play. The only way you don't get sacked is if you are either the Philadelphia Eagles, who have Randall Cunningham, although he's named QB Eagles because of a rights issue.
Right.
QB Eagles was fast, and you could potentially get away from the sack of Bob Nelson, or if you were in the shotgun. But there are only a few shotgun plays that you could call in a game, and the offense, every time you pick a play, the defense gets to try to pick the play. And if as the defender you pick the play, it's almost like the offense. If you were to role play it, the offense would look at the defense and go, "Oh, they know our play. Everybody lay down. Just let them go." Because it's just like the defense goes just bananas and just destroys the offense. So you only have like a 50% chance of getting a play off because I'm going to pick your play 50% of the time because you only have 2 shotguns. Because if you don't try and do a shotgun, Bob Nelson's going to sack you, and it's not going to. You don't even have a shot. So Bob Nelson, all you had to do is when the ball was snapped, you're holding down either down or up so that you move just slightly off center of the center who snaps the ball and tap B, and he will slide like 7 yards, and he'll sack you every time. Bob Nelson, wow. He was he's if that game's any indication, he is enshrined in Canton. So
something about that always makes me think like, was that an intentional move of the developers, or was it just like an accidental kind of thing, or was it just some like ticked off developer that was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna I'm gonna throw a little loop in this. Yeah.
Somebody that got fired before the game was released, like, all right, whatever, the least likely Bob Nelson. Yeah. Let's make him ridiculously good.
Right.
So that was mine.
That's awesome. I have one more game. This is not a Nintendo game, but it was always great. So there's actually, now that I think about it, I think I maybe have put more hours into this game than most. I seriously played this game for like over 500 hours over the course of the time that I really put time into it. And it's called Empire Total War. And interestingly enough, it's a strategy game, which is not usually my jam. But it's a what they call it. What is it like? I mean, they call it Total War, obviously, but it's kind of a grand strategy game where you have a campaign map, and of course you're trying to take over the world. That's the goal. And it's this particular one, called Empire. It was set during the Age of Sail and the Revolutionary War and the French Revolution, all those kind of things. That time period. So it was a very interesting historical setting for me, which is part of the reason why I loved it so much. But also just so you're on the campaign map and you're moving your armies around. Trying to take over the world, but every time you go into an actual battle, it goes into a real-time strategy game. And so it's a great balance back and forth, because some days I would be just way into the strategy of the campaign map and making sure that I had enough units in this area and making sure my towns didn't revolt and that they had enough resources and that I could build up all the settlements within there and everything. Excuse me. And other days it was more just about the battles and everything. But I'm getting off topic. The great thing about the broken thing about that game, and I think towards the end of the time that I played it, they actually started to fix this bug. But it was just an AI glitch. And what you could do is you could create these big settlements with gigantic walls on them. And the way it worked was typically when you attack a settlement that had walls on it, obviously you would go up to the sides of the walls, and then you would put up either ladders or you'd throw up ropes and stuff, and your guys would climb up there, and then you'd have these shooting matches or these battles from the walls. And obviously, in the age of gunpowder, you're shooting them on the ground while they're trying to get up too. But occasionally they would also have, they have their cannons and they have their artillery that they would fire, and so occasionally you'd get a breach in your wall, and you're like, well, crap, now they can just run right in. So, but I discovered that at one point I was fighting just the natives that the American Indians really, that had, I was essentially trying to conquer the United States as the United States. In its early
as years. A good white man of the era
That's right.
would do.
That's right. And so I would take these settlements, and then they would come attacking me, and it was actually my holes that I had blown in their settlement walls that I didn't have time to fix before they came back and attacked that would come after me. But I had cannons, and they had this wonderful technology development on there called canister shot, which, if you know anything about historical, what it means is it's kind of like a shotgun for a cannon, and it just fills it with all these tiny little balls and shrapnel and just horrible stuff that if you had a line of men just running at it, it would just obliterate them. It was terrible.
Right.
And so I figured out a strategy where I would just set up a semicircle ring of cannons with canister shot right around this entrance, and all these Native American Indians would just come barreling through. The AI was not smart enough to realize that because I was like horribly outnumbered here. Like, how am I going to beat these guys? I had no man after the whole huge battle that had led up to this, and they had pulled in reinforcements from so far away, but they would send just wave after wave after wave of reinforcements in there,
deplete all of those.
and the because the game renders every body, as they die, and so the pile of the pile
carnage
of the carnage, and it was really bad.
Oh man!
But it was also just so satisfying because you're like,
yeah,
I saved this country or this settlement with 200 guys. It's just like
yes, and 6 cannons.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So again, I think towards the last several months or so that I played the game, it didn't work quite as well because I think they finally added some AI updates to
sure.
that. But for the longest time, we had a great old time just
is hilarious.
Totally wrecking these other
poor AI bots. Man, that's awful and awesome.
So that was my time with Empire Total War. And again, that wasn't the normal. That was just this one section.
Sure.
Of the map, but
it was hilarious.
It was great.
Right.
Hey, those were our kind of broken games. Why don't you, listeners, take advantage of this opportunity? Tell us what your totally broken, awful games are.
Yes.
Hit us up on Twitter @_directors or at the email nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. That would be. That'd be a great way for us to, and we'll read them on the show next time, and we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that definitely brings us to the wrap up then.
Wow. So,
segue.
How about that? So yeah, speaking of that, you can write into the show, nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter @n_directors. You can find us on YouTube, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on all the podcasting things, which obviously you've done hopefully at this point, some way or another. And you could also help out the show a lot by going onto iTunes specifically and reviewing the show. Just give us some feedback, and it helps the show get some visibility, and so that more people can get it in their ear holes. Our next show.
April 5th.
Yeah, that's coming up. We plan to. We're gonna do. Again, we're gonna save the surprise for our next. Yeah, we're gonna save the surprise for our next episode. But we are. Let's just say there's gonna be maybe a fun guest that we're gonna have with us. And we'll tell you more about that later. But yeah, we're hoping to do a massive recording day on that Wednesday of that week, and to knocking out our normal episode, and then the special episode, and then the other special episode, and it's just gonna be a busy day. But it's we think that you're gonna really enjoy it. So tune in next episode on the 5th, and we will hopefully have no more no more plague going around. Hopefully I don't get it this time. And
great.
We'll be on spring break at that point too. So if we're just kind of off our game and just kind of what's going on, it's because we've just been sleeping for once, and our bodies don't know what to do with it.
What was that word?
Sleeping.
Sleep.
SL is.
Sleep. I don't know what that means. So, don't know the meaning of the word. I'll Google that one in between episodes here. So, all right. Well, that does it for episode 3000 and something.
18.
18.
Yes.
I need to go get some whatever that sleep word was then. All right. So that's it. We will see you all in 2 weeks.
Thanks for
Less
tuning
than
in.
2 weeks. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.